And from here I will drop down an attribute VOP after this merge, and I will set this to be, let's say, set p-scale. So we will just completely override the p-scale here to generate the width for our polywire. Let's step inside and let's bind our curve view and generate a ramp from this. And let's set this to spline ramp. And I want to export this to, let's do a bind export and export this to p-scale. And also maybe after this ramp, drop down a multiplier and let's promote this parameter, and this will be my p-scale multiplier. And if I go up, let's reset the ramp. Let's drop down a polywire, or actually we can just grab the same polywire node that we used for our main lining. So this polywire and also the normal, and also I will grab this set CD because we will want to set some color for this as well. So grab all of these three nodes over here and let's paste them here after we set the p-scale. Plug this here and let's take a look. So if I preview this set CD, let's go back to our p-scale and let's set the p-scale multiplier. Let's maybe start with 0.1. And we will want to make some adjustments to this ramp, and let's maybe slow down this tapering a little bit, and we can see that for the branching the curve view attribute is reversed. So what I can do here very simply is, let's maybe just drop down an attribute wrangle, and I can say that at curve view equals 1 minus at curve view. So this will basically just reverse the direction. Okay, so now we have the expected result. And we can see that we are running into a small problem here, which is that this main lining, so let's maybe disable this merge for a bit. So this main lining has the curve view and we have the nice tapering with the p-scale, but when we add our branching on top, all of the branch lining will start with a p-scale of 1, but for our main lining, the p-scale where it gets towards the end here will not have a value of 1. It will have a value closer to 0. So now when we put these two together, they won't be matching. And what I want to do instead is we can grab this set p-scale VOP, and I will unplug this from our chain, and let's place this here just for our main LTG spread. And whatever value this p-scale is over here, and let's maybe just adjust this ramp a little bit and grab all of these and turn these into B-spline. And let's add some, let's make this ramp a little smoother. Okay. So whatever p-scale value each point of this curve will have, I want this to be inherited by our branching points. So we can also do this here if I go to my preview V and I can grab the p-scale from the surface. The problem here is that we are creating a p-scale attribute here that will specify the length of these lines basically when we merge it into our copy to points. So I want to store this into a different value, or rather a different name than p-scale that we can then later use down the chain. So in our preview V, let's copy all of this and let's paste this here. And instead of curve view, I want to look for my p-scale, and like I said, we have to store this in a new name, so not p-scale, and we will just go with orig p-scale, so orig underscore p-scale, and this will mean that this will be our original p-scale that these points will grab from the surface of the lining curves. So let's maybe go to this LTG branch over here and let's maybe reset the animation to make sure that we resimulate points and we get the intended result. And over here we reverse the curve view and we actually won't be needing this anymore, so I will just get rid of this. And I want to copy this set p-scale attribute VOP and place it over here, so we will individually generate the p-scale for both our main lining and now our branches. So if I go back to my polywire, we should have the same result that we had earlier. but instead now I have individual control over the ramp for my branching over here, so I can just reverse this ramp with this button over here, reverse domain. Okay, so now they tapers towards this other end. And finally what we can do is step inside here and let's do a bind, and let's grab this original p-scale that we got with the PremiV. So over here for the name I will type orig p-scale, and I want to use this as a multiplier for the whole effect. So plug this here, and now they should be decreasing with the original p-scale, and they are a little too thin now. That is because we have to get rid of this global multiplier, because we are grabbing the original value that the p-scale had for the curves. So we no longer need this p-scale multiplier, and I'll just get rid of this. So finally we can see here that where the lining starts to taper towards the end, our branches are grabbing the value of the p-scale from the surface from where they have spawned originally, and we have a consistent size throughout the whole lining this way. So let's maybe just go up, and from this p-scale I can now adjust this multiplier and everything should be updating. So let's maybe drop this to 0.06. Alright, and let's preview this with some geometry now and from the camera. And I think this would be a good time to create a flipbook, so let's create a new flipbook. So I'm pretty happy with this result. I think it has a very nice, powerful, fast start, and then it kind of settles a little bit, and we will have to animate this p-scale a bit. But first, we can see some frames. I think the lining is a little bit too thick here, so maybe I will drop down the p-scale multiplier. Let's go back up, let's go to a frame here where the camera is zoomed in, and maybe set the p-scale multiplier to 0.04, and this might be a little bit better. The thing is that when we add a glow, it will add a lot of thickness to the lining, so we don't have to worry about the lining being too thin. So let's turn this off and let's see how we can fade this in and out. We will create a new attribute wrangle here before the polywire, and for this I will set to fade p-scale, and let's set the p-scale to be multiply equals a channel that we call fade, and we will simply animate this channel on and off. So maybe let's go to the beginning of the strike over here, and maybe let's start with a value of 0.5 and create a keyframe, go forward a few frames, so here they should be reaching their full extent, and let's set this to 1, and then over a duration of maybe up until frame 65, let's fade this to 0. And if I preview this with the polywire now, let's go to our set CD. Maybe let's go to the p-scale and let's just make this start at a value of, let's maybe set this to 0.7. And also here, to optimize things a little bit, we can say that if your p-scale is 0, then remove point, and we'll get rid of any geometry that has a p-scale of 0. So now after these appear and then they fade out to have their p-scale of 0, then we no longer work with any geometry. So this will just optimize the scene a little bit. Let's go back to show all objects and to my camera, and let's see another flipbook and see if this fade animation is feeling right. Okay, so I think actually overall I want maybe 10 more frames, so I will just grab this keyframe over here and just drag it over a few frames. And I think this will be fine, and we can move on to the final part of the lining. And let's grab all of these and press Shift O and grab one of these, and this can become LTG spread. Alright,